Hello, I'm going to run through a quick little video of this tour for Northwest Horticulture Society and see if sometimes it makes more sense for people if they visually see it. So if you like lists, then this will be the place you want to see lists. And if you like visual things, I'm going to walk you through the tour. So this is the map, and geographically, each day is a different color. So you can kind of see that I've grouped things geographically as much as possible, and we're not spending a lot of time on a bus. So you would start by flying into Heathrow Airport, and there's a hotel on property called the Hilton London uh, Garden Inn, and you would spend one night there, 2 nights if you wanted to, but one night would probably be fine. You just walk from your flight to the hotel. It's easy peasy. If your flight gets in the morning, you can drop your luggage and go into London. There's an underground station like next to basically the hotel, and I took some videos to show what it looks like so that you're not going to be confused. So if you wanted to go into London, you could. So you spend one night here, a bus picks us up the next morning, and we head off on our journey. So our first two stops are going to be the purple dots here, and that's these purple dots. And it will be Hauser and Wirth is our first stop. This is a Piet Oudorff garden, and there's a restaurant sort of next to it. We're going to have lunch there. Uh, and then we go to the Newt. So both of these are these two purple dots, and we're going from London to Exeter. So we're making that jump. So we don't have a long distance on the bus, but it's enough to get us into the countryside. So the Newt, and then we check into our hotel, which is Hotel Indigo in Exeter. The city of Exeter has a cathedral. We're right next to the cathedral. There's a rooftop bar that looks onto the cathedral. We'll have our first like welcome dinner that night on the rooftop. We're gonna have cocktails and then dinner inside the restaurant inside. So the city of Exeter, and when it says city, it's anytime with a cathedral is officially a city. The city of Exeter is a smallish, what we would kind of consider a town, but they've pedestrianized their central area. There's not cars in the middle of this town, so it's really pleasant to walk, and there's lots of restaurants and shops and things. So we'll spend 4 nights in Exeter and then make big trips out. Okay, so the next morning we go to Hestercombe, and these are going to be the two green dots here. Hestercombe and Wadeford. Hestercombe is this one, which is a historic garden, and fascinating story about what's going on with that building. Most of these gardens I've visited this summer, by the way. So I spent a week touring most of the gardens that are on the itinerary, plus maybe twice as many that aren't on the itinerary. So I was trying really hard to pick out the best of the best and not just follow what all garden itineraries use. So there might be a few on here they're like, oh, I wonder how come you didn't include that one. Well, it was because maybe it wasn't as good as what we thought it was going to be, or I found something better that's under the radar. Um, anyway, so this other garden is the home garden of James Hitchmoss. We've um, have a tour going with him. Okay, so that would be those two. Then we do the red dots here. So we're staying in this hotel. We're going to do these two red dots. Ford Abbey, which was probably my favorite garden this summer. Fantastic, just stunningly beautiful. And they have a lovely tea room here that's new. And for many of the lunches, we're not doing a scatter lunch ever. We're doing, if there's a lunch that's an independent lunch, it's at a place like this where they have a really nice cafe. You can get more than just tea and cake. You can get actually a savory meal. And then you can spend as much time and as much money as you want on lunch. Sometimes lunches with big groups at restaurants, they can take forever. So having lunches in gardens where you can kind of split out and do your own thing without having it being included in the keeps the cost down, and you can spend less time waiting around for people. So anyway, we have lunch at Fort Abbey, then we go to Burrow Hill Farm, which is this one. And that will be a very pleasant day. And one of the things too on my itinerary is I don't smash in a whole bunch of gardens and then it feels like a big blur. I've tried to be careful about curating what you're seeing so that you have time to actually enjoy and remember what you're seeing rather than quality over quantity. Okay, so then we go back to the hotel, and our next day are these two, the two yellow dots. They're practically next to each other. Um, they are related. The garden house, this was a fantastic garden. And then Wildside, which is nearby. And both of these were really, really, really charming. So we'll spend some good time there. We'll probably have a little bit of independent time that evening. So those are our couple nights 4 nights in Exeter. Now we're going to make the geographic jump from Exeter down to Truro, and on our way, we're going to stop first at the Lost Gardens of Helligan, which is looks like this. Oops, sorry, this is our next hotel. Okay, well, we'll put it out there. This is our next hotel. This is the Atherton. It's a former monastery or nunnery that's been converted to a hotel, real charming place. And it's on the edge of the city of Truro. And Truro again is a small place, but it's officially a city because it has a cathedral. Um, okay, so the Lost Gardens of Helligan. We'll spend some time there, have an independent lunch there. They have a big cafe there. And then we go to Tregahan, which is one that was recommended by Dan Hinckley. So this one I hadn't seen, but Dan recommended it. Looks like it's going to be great. Okay, so then the next day we're going to move further south to the purple dots here, and we have one thing that everybody can do, and then something that's going to be an optional one at additional cost. So everybody, if they have time and can see St. Michael's Mount. So nearby to St. Michael's Mount is a helipad that will get you to Tresco Abbey Gardens, and this is world famous. You've seen it in all the magazines. It's hard to get to, but I've been told it's going to be worth it. So the only way to reasonably get there is by helicopter. So the options are you can take a 3 hour ferry, and I've heard people throw up all the time, 3 hours each way, or you can take like a 1 hour boat to a different place and then another boat to there, which takes all day, or you can do the helicopter. Helicopter takes like 10, 15 minutes. And it'll get you over there. And we have already arranged for the head gardener to do a tour for the people that choose to do this garden. And it's going to be about $330 a person if you want to visit this garden. And that's just because that's what the helicopter costs and getting people over there and the price for the garden tour. It's a once in a lifetime thing. We have limited numbers though, because there's only one helicopter company from what I can tell. They have limited seats. One of the time slots is already sold out on the day that we wanted to go. So I think we can only have 10 people. Maybe if we did 15, we might be able to get 15. But you'll have time to think about that. Anyway, so this is a Tresco Abbey garden. It's a tropical garden on the island. So that would be the purple day. Then the next day after that is Treba. This was maybe my second most favorite. This is a really fascinating garden. So it's in a ravine going down to the sea. And I'm looking forward to going on this one with one of their gardeners. So that looks good. Treba, and then followed by Minnick Theater. Oh, this one was maybe my favorite garden. I have lots of favorite gardens. So Minnick Theater was a woman's passion idea to build a theater. So if you can see here, she had a piece of property with a cliff, and she built seats, and they do performances on this stage, but then they've also got gardens that are succulents and things on the edge. It's fascinating. So we won't see a play, but we'll do a tour of the gardens, and that's down here on the purple part. Or I'm sorry, it's orange, but it's right on the sea. It's really fascinating to look at that. Okay, so then we check out of our hotel in Truro, and we're going to make our way back east. And we have a little bit of a geographic jump to make, but we have some hopefully good things planned on the way. Our first stop we expect is going to be hopefully to East Lambrook Manor Garden. And this is it's a historic garden that's now owned by Allison and Andrew Johnson, who you might know from horticulture things in Seattle. Allison was very involved with Northwest Perennial Alliance. So she and her husband bought this property last year and moved themselves to England. So we might have a tour and lunch there if it works out with their schedule. And then Wilton House is an estate with an estate garden. And then we would get to our last hotel, which is in the town of Guilford. And Guilford is geographically in a great spot. In the hotel there I stayed at last year, which was fantastic. So this was the hotel, Harbor Hotel, really nice people to work with, great location. So that will be our last hotel for the last 3 nights, or 2 nights here and one night at Heathrow. If you have a flight that leaves before 11 in the morning, you'll have your option of doing 2 nights here and then your final night at Heathrow again. Okay, our last two garden days would be Nep. Nep is this one. So they're working on rewilding projects, and we'll probably have lunch there and Lowesley Park, and we're definitely going to have dinner here. It was hard to get into this one. People have found this garden now, and their schedule is packed, but it was a phenomenal garden and dinner. So we are on their schedule already to have dinner there. So then our last day will be these two purple ones, which are the world famous Sissinghurst, and we'll have a independent lunch here. And this is another one that has a great cafe. You can just do your own lunch whenever you feel like it. And Great Dixter, a fan favorite, always a fan favorite is Great Dixter. So there's a website set up that looks like this. The company, the software is called We Travel, and this is what I use to administer tours. And so you register on here, and it's going to ask for things like birthdays and passports and flights. And this is just a way to keep track of it way better than spreadsheets. It's got details of what's included, what's not included. If you pay with ACH, which is a bank's payment instead of your credit card, you get 2% cash back. There's deadlines on here, tons of information. And the pricing that's on here is if 18 to 20 people sign up. So 18 is the minimum for the tour to be a go, and 24 is the maximum. If you get 21, 22, 23, or 24 people, then the prices will come down. What else is on here? Here's where you would register for Tresco Abbey if you want to do that. Here's where you're registered for extra hotel nights. Um, and this just keeps track of everything. So there's more photos here if you want to see more pictures. Uh, so yeah, all kinds of good stuff on here. If you have any questions, my email is tourtoexploremore@gmail, which is here. If you want to get to the online map, you can click to it here. If you wanted to get to the video here, you'll be able to click here. All right, hopefully that gives you enough to go by. I went fast and furious, but I think it gave you enough to make some decisions. Thank you.